Hi guys, welcome back to the new video on files. We are learning C++ and in this video we are going to learn about how to operate on files. We are going to learn how we can open files, how we can add content to the file. So goal is to learn about how basic read and writing operations can be performed on files. So let us begin. So before we begin with the how actual operations can be performed on files, let us understand how input and output can be processed when we do file operations. So we can use insertion operator. Let us say this is your standard input device over here. Okay. So whatever the output that we can provide to your program, okay. So that program can store that information into internal memory, let's say resistance memory or your RAM, and that information is then passed to stored into files. So that information you can write to your files. So your files can be stored into external memory, so that could be your external hard drive, that could be your internal hard drive, external hard drive, or magnetic tape, etc. Similarly, you can use these memories to access those files in order to read data from those files. So you can use these files and read the data, and eventually this data can be passed to your programs, and the processed information or the processed data can be sent to the output devices or display units or the printers using cout or extraction operators. So this is how interaction can be done with the files using your programs. Now let us take one more step. We'll understand how file input and output stream helps us doing this. So your program can output data using output stream. Okay, output stream can be used to write data to your files. Similarly, data files can be read and input stream will be used to provide input to your programs. Okay, so this is somehow a circular system. Okay, and input stream and an output stream can be used to process information over here. Now next is how classes related to file stream operations can be used. So we have our iOS as the main class, okay, and stream buffer is a pointer that is used for processing input output information, and that again extends to your file buffer. Then we have base classes iStream and OStream, which are extended and derived uh, into IFstream and OFstream. Okay, so these are input file stream and output file stream. Okay, similarly we have fstream base class, and which gets extended to fstream. So we don't need to get into too much of details over here. Just last point that I missed is iStream and OStream gets further extended into IOStream. Okay, so this is just basic details that you need to understand, but when you write programs, I think these level of details are really not required for you to be aware of, but it's still good to have knowledge of this. So let us continue. Now next one is this program wherein we can understand how we can work with the single file. So in the main function I'm writing ofstream, and fout is the object over here. Then I have a string line, so I'm using fout, okay, dot open, and then I'm providing the file name over here. Now because there is no path written over here, so this will be the file that compiler is going to search on the same folder or at the same path where your this whole program is residing. Okay, in case you're using, let's say, Windows system, so let's say C colon let's say working underscore dir is your directory, and inside that you're writing your program, let's say files dot cpp, then this code.txt needs to be at this location only. Okay, otherwise compiler won't be able to find that file and it will give an error. Okay, so this was in general about the file structure. Okay, so in case file does not exist in that particular location and you still write open command, so depending on the mode, compiler can create that file if it does not exist. Okay, And in case you have strict mode where the compiler will give an error in case the file does not exist. So you have to specifically check whether the file is existing or not. If it exists, you can open it directly. If it does not exist, ideally you should create that file. Okay, so in our case we are just opening this file. Okay, and when I write cout and then I write cout this path, and I'm writing while fout get line cin comma line. So whatever the input that we are going to read from the input device, that is keyboard in this case, that will be stored into your string line. And then if line is equal to -1, that is in case there is nothing in that line, we are writing break. So if your line is empty, so this while loop will be exited with the help of this break statement. And in case this condition is false, so we are just going to write fout extraction operator line extraction operator endl. So whatever input that we are getting from our standard input device, that will be inserted into your file. Okay, so this is what is happening here. And once this loop ends, we are writing f close, so that is this file will be closed after that. And we have written our file, we have written the code into our file, and now we are going to read from that file. So I'm using if stream input file stream, so I'm creating an object f in here. So again I'm writing fin open, I'm going to open the same file, and then I'm writing text in the file, so this will be printed on the output screen. And I'm writing while fin, as in as long as fin has some content, I'm going to read content from that file, that is get line. I'm using this file, and then the content that I'm reading currently, that is single line, that will be stored into my variable line, that is my string variable, and that content I'm going to print over here. So as long as I don't reach to the end of the file, as long as there's some content in the line that I'm reading, so this loop is going to continue. Okay, and once this process is completed, I'm just going to close that file. It's very important to remember that when you open a certain file, or when a program opens a certain file, we must always close that file. So in case you open a file with, let's say, variable x, and you don't close that file, and let's assume that another variable y or file pointer is trying to open that same file, the compiler will give an error because the file is already being used by some other process. So that will give you an error. So it's always a good practice to close your files when your processing is done, or when you think that your job is done. So fairly simple to understand this concept, and this is how we work with the single file. So here is the output of this program, assuming the file was having this content. So Kodegod, it is something that the file has printed. So this is your output. This is the part wherein input was given as Kodegod, and then we entered -1 as the text over here. So this was your first line, this was your second line. So -1 is the part of the file, but just because you have written -1 over here, we are just going to compare over here. So you can write anything instead of -1. Okay, so this was just to help you understand how the program can be performed. There are other ways to identify how the end of the file is reached or not. So you can use EOF as the keyword, or there are additional functions provided by C++ library. That is something that we are going to check in the upcoming slides. Now next is working with multiple files. So here we are. We have one constant integer, initializing it with 100, and I'm using n as the variable name. And then I have a character string, or I have character array, which is forming a string, calling this character array as line, and it is initialized with 100 because n is 100. Then I'm using ofstream and creating object fout. So then again I'm opening code.txt file. Okay, I'm just writing Kodegod here. This will be inserted into code.txt file, and I'm closing that file. Okay, so once this file is open, I am writing Kodegod into it. Then I'm opening another file with the same object. Okay, this time the file name is codegod.txt. Earlier one was code.txt. In the second file, I'm writing kodegod.com. Notice that I've written only Kodegod in the first file. Then I'm closing that file again. So here I'm opening one file, writing some content to it. Here I'm opening another file, writing some content to it. Then I'm using ifstream class, creating object as fin. Then I'm using fin. I'm opening first file here with the open function, and I'm writing text in the file code.txt. So this will be printed on the output screen. And then I'm writing one file loop. So while fin.getLine, here I'm writing variable line as the character array to which number of characters to be read is specified. And then I'm just printing that file output. So here what is going to happen is that a line character width of 100 is used to read a line from that file. Okay, so again here one by one we are going to write, as long as getLine does not return null value to this function, so this will keep on working. Okay, so as long as this variable is not becoming null, so this will continue. And once this operation is performed, I am just closing that file again. Similarly, I'm executing same code for the same file. I'm opening, reading all the lines from the file and printing it on the output device, and finally closing that file. So this is how we can work with multiple files. You can have multiple output stream variables, you can have multiple input stream variables as well, or you can use same variables as long as you're working on a single file at a time. So this is the output for the program. In the first file you wrote this content, same content was written on the output devices, and same goes with the file number 2. Now, as I mentioned in the one of the previous slide, that how we can detect end of file is reached. So what we can do is, with your input file object, you can write EOF function. Okay, so as long as that function is not equal to 0, your fin object has some content. So when your fin object dot EOF not equal to 0, if this condition is true, then you can exit the code. So this is exit 1 here. So this is standard library function. You can ask compiler to terminate the program, okay, when a certain condition is met. So EF is a member function of your iOS class, and it returns a non-zero value if end of file is detected. Now let us continue, and we are going to understand how we can read from two files simultaneously. So, but additional point to check here, that we are going to use EOF function over here. So again, these are two similar variables. N is equal to 100, it's a constant variable, and I have a character array line of size 100 because N is 100. I have two input file stream objects, fin1 and fin2. I'm opening two files at the same time, one under fin1 and other one under fin2. Then I'm writing this particular code, I equal to 1 and I less than equal to 5. Inside of this, I'm writing this particular code. So if fin1 dot end of file not equal to 0, okay, that means if this condition is true, we can exit from the file and hence terminate the program. Oh, sorry, in this case, because I'm writing exit 1, in this case, because I'm writing exit 1, it is just going to exit from this code block, okay, and it will move on to the next line if this condition is false. So again, just to explain at this point again, this for loop is going to run for 5 times. It can be anything actually instead of 5 over here. And every time I entered into this loop, I'm just checking whether end of file is reached or not. If it is not reached, it is going to read that line. Okay, it will be stored into your variable line. It is going to read 100 characters, and I'm going to print that line on the output device. Okay, so this is going to continue until end of file is reached. Okay, so if end of file is reached, to the compiler it will be printed that exit from file 1 is done. Okay, similarly, if you check the other lines, I'm doing the same operations on the second file as well. Okay, so as long as second file does not reach its end of file, it is going to perform this operation, and it is going to read line one by one, and it is going to print output on the output device. So this is end of your for loop over here. Okay, at the end of this for loop I'm just closing these both the files. So what is exactly happening in this program? I'm going to perform a for loop for 5 times, that is starting from 1 to 5, that is 1 2 3 4 and 5, and it is going to read 5 lines from these two files. So here is the output of this program, because we are reading one line from the other one. So if you check here, we are writing text from code.txt is the first line from the code.txt file. Then I'm writing text from codegod.txt, and then the second line will be printed. And again we are reading content from the first file, and this part will be printed. And the next is reading the next line from the second file. Okay, so what is happening, that it is reading one line from these two files one after the other one. Okay, so this is the output of this program. Important thing to understand here is that we can work on multiple files at the same time, but most important point is that we should remember to close those files at the end of the program or whenever your job is completed. As mentioned in, I think, first or second slide, a file can be opened in multiple modes. So iOS Steam class has these multiple modes. So iOS colon in is a read only mode, wherein you can open the file in a read only mode, but you cannot write content to that file. Second is the iOS colon out mode, wherein you can open that file in the write mode only. And then there's app, that is append. So it appends content to the existing file. It won't erase anything that is already part of that file. So assuming, let's say you have 3 lines in the file, and whatever the content is being appended, it will be added from the 4th line. And then we have ate, that is go to end of the file on open. Okay, so whenever you have a file, let's say this, so this is, let's say, multiple characters. Okay, just to correct myself, so when you say app and let's say your file end is somewhere here, so content will start, the compiler will start appending your content from this particular location. Okay, similarly when you say go to end of the file, so let's say you are writing somewhere here, so when you start writing from here, or you will start overwriting as well, like this. But when you say go to end of the file, so cursor position in the file will be somewhere here at the end. You can also open your file into the binary modes. I think this is something for the advanced users. So instead of opening into text mode, where text content will be stored, file can be opened in the binary mode. That is, ones and zeros would be there. And there is another mode, no create. So this particular file opening function can fail if file does not exist, as in the scenarios wherein you don't want file to be freshly created if it already exists. So in that case, the file open function will be failed. Then there is no replace, fails if file already exists. So in case the file already exists and you want to ensure that I accidentally don't write content to the file, so you can use no replace mode over here. You can also write trunk mode, wherein you can delete content of the file if it exists. So these three modes are really useful when you have mechanism wherein you are writing logs or you are writing some level of transactional information. So these kind of modes will be really useful. So just to briefly tell you how this mode can work. So to your output stream, you can specify these modes like this, and you can use pipe operator as well over here to specify multiple modes. We're not going to discuss this program in detail, but this is something that I wanted to explain you in terms of how file modes can be utilized in your file open operation. But you can obviously try this program for understanding purpose. There are a few additional functions that I wanted to discuss, which are really useful when you have to handle few errors. So these are few error handling functions. EOF is important functions. It returns you non-zero value if end of file is reached, and it is really useful when you are reading it, a certain set of characters, or you're reading file completely line by line. So EOF is very important function and is very commonly used. you can use fail. It returns true when input output operation is failed. So this is particularly useful in case you're working on a very large file and you need to ensure that the contents are written properly into the file. So in case your input output operation fails in that case, so this function can be really useful. You can also use bad. It returns true when invalid operation is attempted to the file. So this could be cases like wherein you are working on a restricted mode and the file is being used by some other process. You're just trying to perform some operation on a certain file. Obviously these are functions that can be used by advanced programmers or users, but this is good to know how these functions can be useful. Good returns true if no error occurred while performing certain operation, and clear, it resets error state to attempt further operation. So in case you're working on multiple files and let's say a write operation is still in process, you have received a certain status of a file, you can use clear function which resets the error state, and you can attempt the further operations on the same file. So here is one example how you can use error handling function. So I have written one very simple function. I'm using ifstream on fin object. I've created object fin of class ifstream, and then I'm using fin open, specifying the file name test.txt, and my mode is ios::in, which is, if you see here, it is read-only mode. Okay, so if this is read-only mode and we try to perform operation over it, it should fail. Okay, so I'm writing while not fin.fail. Okay, as in unless and until there is some problem with the file while performing certain operation, it is going to perform whatever the code is inside of this while loop. I am also writing then if fin.eof. So if fin.eof is reached, so we can terminate the program. Else if fin.bad, and we are just going to return that some fatal error is there. Else I'm writing fin.clear, that is clear error state flags related to the file. So this is how you can write. This is some dummy code that I have written. It is not a standard example, because this is something that you can write depending on use cases related to your program. So this was just a dummy example. I hope I have made all the points clear over here. So thank you so much for watching this video, guys. I really think that you like this video. Don't forget to share this video with your friends. Ensure that you like this video. After this video, we are going to have a final module related to our C++ program series, and which is going to be on error handling. And again, that is a very important topic. Once that final module is compiled, I'm going to release a single video wherein all 10 modules will be included. Before we end this video, guys, I want you to follow us on Instagram, wherein we are going to upload carousel based posts that will be really good for you to understand how you can improve your overall skills, because releasing these videos is taking some level of time for us. So meanwhile, we are planning to release regular content on Instagram. So do us follow. Our Instagram page username is @Kodegod, KODEGOD. You can find the link in the description for the same. Thank you so much, guys. Enjoy. Stay safe.